Do not let this deceptively cute game fool you. I know it looks very pleasant and it looks like something that's going to be relaxing and chill, but it is not. This game will hurt your brain in the best possible, it hurt mine in the best possible way. Harmonies is an abstract, deceptively cute game of drafting, tile placement, and pattern building. Every turn, a player will take a set of 3 tokens and place them on their board to create patterns, which hopefully match those required of the animals on the animal cards they took on their turn. Ideally, you want to synergize between patterns for maximum efficiency, but realistically, your brain will be on constant meltdown agonizing over the fact you placed that useless mountain in the middle of nowhere and now it's of no use to you because you're a failure, you're an idiot, and your dream of being a professional Harmonies player is forever ruined. I'm not the biggest abstract fan, and yet for this game, I was enjoying my entire time with it just because of how much it felt like the game was just continually challenging me. You know, like a lot of people compare this to Cascadia, and that's a fair enough comparison. But Cascadia is like really chill, you know what I mean? Like you make some engaging decisions and they're tough sometimes, but for the most part, it's kind of laid back. You know, you kind of sit back and like, oh, I'm connecting my fishies.
You know how I feel about this. I feel like the biggest difference between this and Cascadia, and I compare the two a lot, is that one gives you all the objectives at the beginning of the game.
Yes.
The other, this one, you have to actually get new objectives as time goes on.
You are constantly adapting.
That one difference makes the entire feeling of the game, the pace of the game, super different.
Oh yeah, like you are, like I said, you are really challenged in this game. The game is like giving you this constant puzzle that you need to solve, and your head is
puzzles.
Yeah, exactly, a new puzzle every single time. And like the tokens that come out, 3 tokens come out after somebody takes them, and you need to be like, oh, those aren't the tokens I need because they're not fitting for the animal that I currently have. So I gotta find a way to make do.
Or you want 1 or 2 of the colors and not all 3. And the ones that you don't want, you can't just discard. You have to use it as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It's a good kind of distress. It's a good kind of pain and prompt to have.
It's a challenge. You feel like you're being challenged. And for an abstract game, I think that's a really good accomplishment. And I think this game really rewards multiple plays because the more we played it, and I played this a bit on Board Game Arena too, just to practice so I can beat the people in real life.
But he didn't beat the people in real life.
It's true, I lost a few games. but it's cool because like it does reward future plays because you kind of know you'll start to know a lot of the animals in the deck. And so yeah,
you start to know the animals in the deck.
You're
making friends in the forest.
Yeah, that's right. I'm making friends in the forest here. I'm Snow White. But you start to know, and so you start to know what patterns you might need. So even if there's nothing for you to draft currently that's benefiting the animals that you currently have in your tableau, you're kind of setting yourself up for the future. Like, okay, well, I think there's a lot of cards that are going to come up that's going to require larger mountains. It's a bit of a roll of a die, but I like that sort of future planning that the game can provide you, but only if you've played it quite a bit of times.
Just because when you start the game off, you have already 1 main objective, and 1 additional card. That alone seems like, oh, not that crazy, not that hard. I can just focus on these 2 and I'll be fine. The problem is when you're like, okay, I'll just pick up cards on the way that fall into what I already have. And then you might pick up some cards like, oh, I already have this, perfect, done. Problem is you need to make it happen 4 times.
Yeah, the game has really good pacing.
It does.
Because could you start off, it's sort of like this open sandbox, like you were saying. It's sort of like this open sandbox where you're just kind of doing...
You have a small guidelines. You have very simple,
exactly.
Like you have
light.
1 or 2 guidelines.
It's like a really light guide rail. But then after a while, it's like the shit hits the fan. You got like 4 animal cards in front of you. You got tiles here that you may not want. You're just like, okay, I got to put this puzzle together. Because you know the perfect move is there. You know it's there. And you're just like struggling to find it.
Or even the perfect card will be there. You know that as cards come up, I found in a lot of the games I played that a lot of the cards... what I have set up already qualifies me 1 occurrence of that. The problem is that, and this is a very smart design of the cards in the game, is that a lot of these cards, you have to do the same layout 3 times. And because you have to put a cube on the blue one there, you can't make use of the 2 blue cubes 3 times, which makes it so hard. And that's the tricky part for me, is not the getting multiple different contracts even, is getting multiple contracts and completing them in multiple instances.
Yeah. That's another layer that the game adds, is that, so you put the token down to complete your animal set, or at least a portion of the animal. And when you do that, it sort of prohibits you from using exact same spot for a different animal card if that animal card requires you to put the token down on the same spot. So it's like another layer to that complexity cake that you're baking in your head every time you play.
Which I really enjoy. I really enjoyed that component of it. I didn't think, so I didn't expect the game to be pretty simple. And
it is. It's really easy to teach. Really easy to learn.
The more I played this game, even in just the first time, I was like, oh, it's getting harder and harder to maintain my perfect landscape. Oh no, this is one extra and I don't have anywhere to put it. Not that it's exactly play interaction, but you have to keep an eye out on the pace everyone else is going in the game too. And I think that's another layer of complexity of this game that made it, for me, more frustrating, but therefore more fun.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there is not really interaction in this game. Like, you are so laser focused on your turn to be like, okay, I gotta fit this here, and this is gonna fit here. Especially in your first like 5-6 plays, you're probably not gonna worry too much about what other people are doing. Okay, you got your own shit to worry about. Because like some games will facilitate hate drafting, right? But I can't see anybody, and you correct me if I'm wrong. If you let me know in the comment section if you're like big brain brilliant enough to be able to like worry about your own turn, but then also facilitate, also do a little hate drafting. You're like, oh, I know you need these 3, so I'll take these. Because
where are you gonna put these 3 on the board?
Your
board is so small.
So it has to be advantageous to you as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you did hate drafting really well. I think that's something Mike has mastered, is always
really
taking the tiles and the cards and everything that I need always.
I will find a way to hate draft in every game I play.
Lucky me.
I'm just facilitating player interaction for the good of the group.
Yeah. I enjoy board games. I want to interact with players. I want this to be like the whole point is a social event, right? But the play interaction part of this game doesn't matter to me. You're so
okay with it.
You're so obsessed and so deeply entrenched in like your tiny little board and how to make it the most efficient and optimized possible so you complete as many contracts as you can, that you don't care. You don't care what else doing.
No. We prefer player interaction. Player interaction is always the preference.
We don't play solo games.
We do not play solo games, no.
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to give me a game that has no player interaction, you better be damn sure that the puzzle that you're giving me is something that is worth solving. And this game is definitely worth solving.
We have a mix of friends. Some that really, really love board games, maybe even more than us, and some that play because their husbands play. Play because they have to. Play because the whole group is playing games, so they have to do it too.
Shout out to Megan.
We love you. Thank you for joining us in the games. And so you want to find games that kind of can cater to both.
Yeah.
That can feel strategic, but doesn't feel like, oh, I have to think so much about this. Like, you can randomly put stuff down. You can't do that. You wouldn't do well in the game, but you can still play that way.
You get as much of this game as you put in, and you don't have to put in everything if you don't want to. You don't have to lay everything on the table and burn your brain. You can just have fun.
Because you can have 2 contract cards at a time, and that is it. Yeah. Or you could be like us and take 4 and then get stuck and be like, oh, is that the one I want? I can get rid of the card I already have. So how am I going to do this? You can make it as stressful as you want to make it. Which is why I love this kind of game. I love this game in particular. It's the idea of it's fantastic, but it's executed so well.
The one negative thing I have to say about this game is that, and I've seen this repeated time and time again in some forums, there's luck here. There is some luck here, because there are going to be times.
Luck in life.
There is, but there's going to be times in which you're taking tokens, and you didn't want these tokens. That's okay, but maybe you'll make do. And those cards that you're hoping for just don't pop. They don't come at all. And then you'll see the person next to you and a new card will come out and they're like, oh, damn. And they just take the card and they've literally completed like half of the things without doing anything because they already had it on their board. That does happen sometimes. And it could be a little frustrating. But that it's funny because that luck element is sort of what I enjoy about the game, is that the adapting to what could potentially be poor luck, to me, almost becomes enjoyable because it's challenging me. It's like the game is giving me a bad hand of cards, so to speak, and just saying, make do. Let's see what you can do. You good at this game? Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I kind of like that.
I actually agree or disagree with the luck thing. Firstly, there's luck in everything in life.
There is, of course.
You're lucky to be alive today.
Sure.
But you make your own luck. I really believe the grass is green inside you water it. And so the thing is, if you already, like I said earlier, if you have 4 cards the whole time and you're always pressing the 4, you don't leave room for luck. You don't leave room for taking up a card that you
lose some flexibility.
Exactly.
And we've been spending all this time talking about how you make the animal formations. We even talk about the fact that the game also scores the lands themselves. Like the game wants you to have like no more than 2 plains tiles. The game wants you to have a stack of trees of 3 high, and then you get 7 points, or a stack of mountains for 3 high, and the mountains have to connect to other mountains, or you get nothing. So it's just like the game's just like throwing all these things at you that you have to like kind of juggle and balance.
That's the making your own luck. If you know all the ways that you know your entire area will be scored, you can, when you build stuff out, you can start planning for those things.
You can, yeah, exactly. It's just, it just gets really tough. The game gets really tough when you're trying to balance, like, okay, I need to make sure I'm getting this thing that I'm building for my iguana correctly, but then also I got to make sure that my mountains are connecting to other mountains, or I'm not going to get any victor points. Oh, where am I placing my cubes? Are they going on the right spots? It's a challenging game, but that's why I like it. And the interesting thing about the game is that I couldn't really tell you what it's doing that's entirely new. You're going to see a lot of the stuff you've seen before if you've played a lot of abstract games. And yet I'm okay with that because it manages like a greatest hits album, you know? It just kind of manages to take all the good stuff, put it all together, and make an abstract game that, like I said, I'm not a big abstract game fan, but I really like this one. This one is going to occupy our collection along with Cascadia because I think they're different types of abstract games.
Some of them are different enough to justify having both.
Yeah, and for that, I really like it. So I'm going to give it I give it an 8. The randomness can be a little tough sometimes, like I said, to be on the poor end of the receiving end of that. But I really enjoy this game. I give it an 8. I recommend it.
Some games, because they're pulling inspiration and ideas and mechanisms that you've seen before, there is a familiarity to that game. When you first time play it, it's not like completely new. It's like, oh, I've seen all these things before. It's something familiar about this game. I can't pinpoint what it is. But there's some new enough stuff that makes the game have a unique take.
Yeah, and there's small elements like you're drafting 3 tiles instead of just, taking 1 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so for those reasons, I would give it a 9.
Damn, okay.
I think
she likes abstract games a lot more than I do.
I mean, I would give it a 10 if it wasn't for my apprehension against 10s. I feel like
nothing's perfect, I guess. I give 10s out sometimes.
I could give 10s too, but I feel that 10s have to be the kind of game that I could never let go of. Like I would never sell. I would never you know what I mean? Fair. Like I will go live in a cave and bring it with me kind of game. There's something about it that's special that makes it such a simple game that you don't have to talk when you're playing. You can just be quiet. It can be late in the night.
Yeah,
it can be a first game of the game day, or it can be a late night game. Works either way.
Yep. So Tabletop Turtle wholeheartedly recommends Harmonies. It is a fantastic abstract game that is 100% worth playing, even if you just get a chance to play it at a convention, do so, because you're probably going to enjoy it.
And you'll want to buy it.
Exactly. That's all for today. We'll see you later. See you next.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Peace.